After skipping ED summons for a third time, the Chief Minister has written to the agency, in fact has urged the agency to respond to his earlier responses and clarity on the position so as to he can understand the real intent, ambit, nature and scope of the inquiry investigation for which he's been called. That's what the letter states. Tetshi, take us through more. Skipping the summons for a third time, what are the kind of reasons that he's touched upon in this letter?
Well, this is the third time that the Chief Minister of Delhi, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, has skipped the summons, and in fact he has also written a letter to Enforcement Directorate. And in fact in this letter he has mentioned that there has been no reply to the things that he has been mentioning in the past two letters, and in fact this is the third letter that he is writing, in which he is again mentioning that there is no clarity over he has been summoned as a witness or he has been summoned as a suspect, number one. Number two, he asks, or he in fact mentions in the letter that there is no clarity also, in fact, that he has been summoned as in capacity as a national convener of Aam Aadmi Party or the Chief Minister of Delhi. So there are several questions or several doubts that he has raised in this particular letter. Also, he has mentioned that he will not be able to go to the Enforcement Directorate, or he will not be able to appear for the summons. The reason being, number one is elections, and number two, he has cited is that he also have to prepare for the 26th January. That means he'll not. That means for the Republic Day he needs to prepare, and that is why there are a lot of preparations lined up, programs lined up for which he will not be able to attend or not be able to appear for the summons. And of course, he also mentions that the language that was used in the earlier two summons, the language appears to be the same. And of course, there has been no reply to what he has written to all those other summons that were on 21st of November, 2nd of December, 21st or 2nd of November, 21st of December, and today that is 3rd of January 2024. And of course, Aam Aadmi Party ministers have also been saying that this is a targeted attack only on the ministers and now the Chief Minister of Delhi, because they have been working on the best possible model of education and health, and the government is now very much and the agencies are now just acting as a puppet of the government, and that is why government is making agencies do all these things by hook or crook.
Okay, all right. It's a 5-page reply to the Enforcement Directorate summons. Before I go across to Siddharth, who's joining us with that letter, let me quickly go across to Harish Khurana of the BJP joining us on the phone line. He's calling it a motivated attempt on part of the centre. Also says this is a fishing and roving inquiry. It's a letter, a 5-page letter that's been written by Arvind Kejriwal, Mr. Khurana.
See, he wants to play a bichara for politics. End of the day, he has to give the replies to the lot of questions to be asked by the ED. He's afraid. He knows that somehow he is... he's behind he's a mastermind of this whole scam. So he has to answer a lot of questions. Like K. Arvind, who was the secretary to Manish Sisodia, has clearly said in his statement that in the presence of Arvind Kejriwal, the top policy has been given to him, and there's 5 to 12% has been given. And Supreme Court has clearly stated 300 crore rupees monetary has been found. So these answers has to be given by Arvind Kejriwal. But
he's asking the agencies that he'd sought details on whether or not he's been summoned as a witness or as an accused, and the non-disclosure, non-response approach adopted by the agency cannot sustain the test of law, equality and justice.
See, this is just a buying tactic. Just if you are so much confident about yourself, go and answer whatever the questions have been asked. Why are you are saying, okay, I'm calling as a witness, I'm calling as a... Arey Baba, if you ask some questions about the
face the agencies, face their questioning if you really believe that you're innocent. Thank you, Mr. Khurana, for speaking to us. Let me quickly go across to Siddharth, joining us with that letter in detail. Siddharth.
So it's a fairly comprehensive response by Arvind Kejriwal here, and this is something that he's written back to the Enforcement Directorate, reiterating some of his reasons in the previous letter that he wrote to the ED by saying the summons that have been issued are motivated and issued for vexatious considerations. It's not clear as to the capacity in which I'm being summoned, that is as a witness or a suspect in the above mentioned case. Summons failed to provide details in relation to the file bearing ECIR HIUI 14/2022 or the reason why I've been summoned therein. Summons appear to be in the nature of a fishing and roving inquiry. as it does not specify whether I'm being summoned as an individual in my official capacity as Chief Minister of Delhi or as the national convener of the AAP. Then he, of course, goes on to say, your silence on the aforementioned critical aspects lead me to infer that you're maintaining unwarranted secrecy and are being opaque and arbitrary in the present matter. I reiterate my firm commitment to the rule of law and my unflinching undertaking to render any cooperation or assistance in any inquiry or investigations as may be per law, fair, just and expedient. However, he reiterates, as stated above, your silence confirms my apprehensions about certain vested interests and extraneous as well as malafide considerations prevailing over any objective, rational, fair or partial inquiry of investigations. He then, of course, finally goes on to say that being the Chief Minister of Delhi, I'm also quite occupied in planning and preparations for several programs and functions for Republic Day, which is 26th January. I hope you shall act as per law and transparently and fairly, considering my objections dated the 2nd of November and the 20th of December.
So he's clearly seeking more details on the purpose, rather the reason of the summons, and that's why he's written this detailed letter, 5-page letter to the agency, to the investigating agency.